Hello, welcome to Take 10 with the Tennessee Tribune. I'm Sandra Long Weaver. I'm the editorial director for the Tribune, and today our guest is Nathalie N. Parker, who is the coordinator for the National Network of Young Adults in the United Methodist Church. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be with you.
Yes, and thank you for joining us. You have been working for almost a year and will be convening a conference on September 21st at Clark Atlanta University called the National Lit Conference. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Leading in Transformation.
Leading and Transformation. And you've been working as the program coordinator for the National Network of Young Adults out of the Strengthening the Black Church for the 21st Century for the United Methodist Church. So I've thrown out a lot of titles and names of different programs that are going on. So let's talk a little bit about Strengthening the Black Church in the 21st Century and how you came to be a part of that office.
Yeah, awesome.
And your work.
So Strengthening the Black Church for the 21st Century is an agency of the United Methodist Church that's linked to discipleship ministry. And the entire focus is to make sure that we empower our African American churches, that they have the resources, the coaching, the development necessary to be vital congregations. And so from that vision came the birth of the National Network of Young Adults. Our executive director, Dr. Allen, has a heart for the Black church and for Black communities. And he saw, like many people see, that there's a decrease in participation from young adults, whether it's in the Black church or whether it's in spiritual communities.
And religious affiliations altogether,
Right.
yes.
And so his vision was to create a network of exclusively young adults.
Oh.
And
Okay.
that's how we met.
Mhm.
And
Now, and you said that's how you met, but you were a student at Gammon Theological Seminary when you met him?
yes, I was a student at Gammon Theological Seminary. I was getting ready to graduate, just married.
Ah.
My husband, who's also a pastor, he pastors St. Luke's CME Church at Temple Boulevard. And we just came to visit Nashville to see if it was somewhere that he would want to serve. And someone said, you need to meet Dr. Allen.
Ah.
And so we got together over breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, he was baptized at the church that my husband would possibly pastor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he said...
So already a connection.
Yeah, and so he said, you know what, I think you would be great to lead this particular initiative that we're just thinking about. And so we had no budget.
Okay. That always makes it fun.
We had no budget.
Mhm.
We only had faith. And it's really the grace of God and really the vision and the provision that God has given us to be able to, in just 1 year, raise hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, wow.
And be able to gather, now the number is 120 students from across the nation, from historically Black colleges and universities on the campus of Clark Atlanta University, and we are
That's pretty amazing.
excited about it.
Mhm.
Truly it's going to be lit.
Right.
But we know that these are young adult leaders who are extremely involved in their campus life and in their communities.
Mhm.
And so this conference is really providing a space for them to be able to look at leadership development as a whole, right?
Oh, I
Sometimes
see.
we
Okay.
separate church from academia, and we separate social justice from the church.
Right.
But when you look at this generation, millennials are driven by their faith.
Mhm.
And so we don't see that millennials are not interested in being spiritual. We see that their spirituality is found in their academic life. Their spirituality is found in their social justice work. Their spirituality is found in so many aspects of their lives. And so that's what this conference is about, is saying, yes, you can love Jesus and be a Black Lives Matter advocate.
Okay, and you can still be a leader in the church.
Exactly.
And this is how your ministry looks. It may not necessarily be from the pulpit, but there are other ways that you can also minister to congregations.
Exactly,
Is that right?
exactly. And the United Methodist Church does a great job of partnering with historically black colleges and universities. We have 11, and that's, you know, through the Black College Fund and through
Right.
other initiatives. And so we're creating a pipeline, you know, after you graduate Wiley College or any other HBCU, there's room for you to serve here. And thank God that we got the Young Clergy Initiative grant through the Office of Higher Education, Explore Calling. And because of that grant, we're able to say, wherever God is calling you to serve, there's a space for you here.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so this, the National Network of Young Adults really focuses on African Americans.
Yes.
Is that right? And so you've been able to visit all these campuses, not all of them, but quite a few HBCUs over the last year, and encouraging young people to come to this conference.
Definitely, and I smile because it doesn't feel like a job.
Okay.
It's definitely work that I love to do. Going to Gammon Theological Seminary, that was my first HBCU experience. I was a graduate of Adelphi University and Columbia University, where the context is so different.
It is very different.
But when I went to Gammon, it was an experience that I needed, and that I realized how important it is for us to invest our resources, not just in the academy, but in our communities, right? Because these leaders leave and they put all of their energy, resources, and all of that information that they got from their colleges back into their communities. And so as a graduate of Gammon, I was also selected as the HBCU All-Star, which is a program through the White House Initiative.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's wonderful.
Yeah, the White House Initiative on HBCUs. And so that platform just became something important to me. And from that came this work with HBCUs, as well as a children's book entitled I Love My Future HBCU. And it's just a blessing to be able to have this opportunity to invest in a platform that means so much to me.
Wow.
And that has made such a huge impact on my life.
I see. Now, I didn't know about your book, so tell me just a little bit about the book you've written. Is it available?
It is. It's available on Amazon.
Okay.
It's also available on our website, www.parkerministries.com. And it's really a labor of love. It's I met my husband on an HBCU, so you see, I love HBCUs.
And you're in a city where there are 4.
Where there are 4, and they're right close to our church on at Temple Boulevard, TSU, who actually has 25 students coming, and Fisk is coming, so that's great. But yeah, so the book is really a love letter. At the time when I wrote it, we weren't expecting, and it was just a story to my child about why HBCUs are important.
Oh, wow.
And how I met your dad.
Oh, okay.
a year after it was published.
Okay.
We had our little one.
That's wonderful. And now how the age group that the book is intended for?
Yeah, it's really targeted from 3 to 6.
Okay.
It's a picture book.
Oh, great. Okay. That's wonderful. So that's available on Amazon, and it's I Love My HBCU.
I Love My Future.
My Future HBCU. Okay, great. Well, let me go back though to the network and the conference that's coming up on September 21st. Tell me a little bit more about what's going to be discussed at the conference and why it's important for all these students to gather.
Definitely. So the overarching question is, where is God calling me to serve? And it's a leadership development conference. And so there are workshops to provide resources for people to kind of answer that question, to discern and to respond to that call. We already know that these are leaders.
Right.
We already know that they're transforming their campuses. But how can we empower them with information for their right now and for their post-graduation? And so there are different tracks. So there's the academy track, where CAU professor and author of The Coming, Dr. Daniel Black, will be presenting. And then there's the ministry track for those who know that they're called to ordained ministry. And that's going to be presented by Dr. Valerie Everett, as well as Reverend Rudy Rasmus, who's affectionately known as Beyonce's pastor.
I see, okay.
He'll be there to do, for seminarians exclusively, a ministry in excellence track to give them practical advice, how to prepare for ministry, whatever that looks like. And then we also have the social justice entrepreneur track for those of us who, trailblaze, who don't necessarily fit into the ordained ministry and don't necessarily fit into the academy,
Right.
but have an entrepreneurial spirit as well as a social justice heart.
Okay.
And that's going to be by Ramal Toon. So
wow.
we're excited
Okay.
to have such great people
That
who are
sounds
doing
exciting.
the work
Mhm.
to help prepare them.
And so the conference is once a year,
Mhm.
but it will be, now during the course of the year, how does the network stay in touch? What goes on?
Yeah, a key component of our programming in this year has been to connect with mentors who stay connected with the mentees and the students throughout their matriculation. And so we have a slew of young adult clergy who are campus ministers
Yes.
or who are ordained themselves, who keep in touch with them, who call them. I'm lucky to have a great group of mentees, and we stay very much involved in their lives, just so that they have that support continually after. And then I have the privilege to go back to these campuses.
And follow up
And
with them
follow
during the
up.
course of the year.
Yeah, and follow up, and then we do other things. We have other national gatherings. We have a big trip coming up to Portland to an event called Exploration, which is sponsored by the United Methodist Church. And then we're going to have something called Ebony Exploration, which on a smaller scale actually takes students to seminaries and to graduate schools for them to kind of have a tour as well as to ask the questions that are important for them. So it's more intimate in a way.
Okay.
And that will also take place in Atlanta.
Oh, wonderful. This is very exciting.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like this network is off to a great start, and with the upcoming conference. Now, is it only for seminary students or on
no.
HBCU campuses?
No,
or?
it's open to HBCU students from undergrad as well as graduate. It's also open to anyone in the Atlanta area. At 6 p.m., for those who couldn't catch the workshops or weren't able to register because we're full to capacity.
Oh, wow. That's exciting for the first time.
For the first time, it's a good problem to have.
Yes.
And so we're grateful for that. But for people who can't make that, but they want to be a part of the lit experience, as we call it, at 6 p.m. in the Davidge Auditorium, we have the Grammy-nominated Walls Group.
Wow.
And then I will be the speaker.
Congratulations. Okay.
Thank you. So I'm excited about that. And it will be a time for anyone to enjoy. It's going to be inspiring and definitely dynamic.
All right. Well, Nathalie, thank you for joining us, and blessings to you on your ministry. And I hope this is a great conference. And thank you for joining us. Our guest today has been Nathalie N. Parker, who is the coordinator for the National Network of Young Adults in the United Methodist Church, traveling all over to HBCUs and bringing them to the ministry. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right.